What is going on, everybody? It is Tyler here, and when you hear that rad music going on in the background, you know what time it is. That's right, let's get jumping right in to the Keyblade Master Podcast. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Keyblade Master Podcast. This week, I was going to give you guys a podcast with a friend of mine on the Defenders, but something came up in the recording, and it was on my end. I just didn't record it right. I was listening back to it, and it just did not. The sound wasn't there. I didn't want to put it out yet. But that podcast will actually be on the Defenders, the Netflix miniseries that came out a few weeks ago, and I want to give some more of you guys the time to watch it because I'm going to be introducing a new segment on that podcast where we it's my version of like a spoiler talk, where with me and a friend, we're going to go in depth with the show, what we liked, what we didn't like, what the critics were saying, and give our overall impression. So be sure to stay tuned for the channel for that. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to talk about Call of Duty World War II. It's kind of a good thing that happened because I wanted to kind of move along. I've been doing movie podcasts for a good bit, for the last couple podcasts have actually been movie podcasts, and I was like, let me stray away from that and kind of change it up a little bit. So today what I wanted to talk about was the World War II beta, and looking forward to the game that comes out in a couple months actually. So after playing the beta, I did want to go ahead and say that I really enjoyed it. After playing the beta, I really did enjoy it. I do have to say, it felt like classic Call of Duty, which I really, really liked. There was no futuristic movement gimmick. It was just strictly boots on the ground combat, and I absolutely loved it. Now, to start out with a little bit specifics, but not really, I really enjoyed the map design with the exception of Gibraltar. I think that was the only map I didn't like. So in this podcast, I'm actually going to be showcasing you guys some footage, some gameplay of each of the maps. I wasn't able to record each game mode, but I was able to get each map, including the new game mode War, and we'll get to that in a minute on the podcast here. Overall, I wanted to go ahead and say that I really enjoyed the game, and specifically the map design, with the exception of Gibraltar, like I said a few seconds ago. But the map design was nice. I felt that it wasn't too complex, it wasn't too tightly spaced in any of that. The map design was fluent. I never found myself complaining about stuff in the map. Why is this there when it shouldn't even be there, or this should be there? I really wasn't complaining about that because the map seemed to fit the tone well. They fit the tone of the game. They fit the World War II tone, and I think that's what I liked about them so much. The only thing I didn't like about the map Gibraltar, which is some gameplay from my actual video that I put up on the channel, so if you guys want to go ahead and see that gameplay in full, that will be in the description below, so you guys can check out that video in its entirety. And I was only able to upload 2 gameplay videos of Call of Duty World War II, the beta. I do apologize for that. I wanted to get some more out there, but just some time constraints, I wasn't able to get it out. So in this podcast, I wanted to showcase some gameplay, you guys, just to kind of change it up a little bit for your enjoyment, so you can actually see where what I'm talking about, what I'm referring to, and all that. But the map design was good. The new map Aachen is by far my favorite map of the beta. I love that map because of the tight spaces, the apartment complexes, the open engagement of the middle lane, where all the snipers can have some fun, the assault rifle guys can have some fun with it, and along the sides you got these like apartment buildings that have these holes blown in them. You can go in there. That's where your SMG guys, your shotgun guys are gonna go. That map seemed to have something for everyone. So Aachen was my favorite map by far, and I guess I'm gonna go ahead and go through the 4 maps that we actually got in the beta. And the other maps, we talked about Gibraltar, talked about Aachen, and the other 2 maps that we actually got from the beginning of the beta was Ardennes Forest and Pointe du Hoc. Pointe du Hoc, I enjoyed it. I found that was everyone's favorite map. It had to deal with like another SMG map where it was like a bunch of tight spaces. You're in these trenches. It's a close quarters map, one of the smaller maps in the beta. I didn't mind it. It wasn't my favorite though, which I thought it would be. But honestly, I really enjoyed Ardennes Forest a lot more, simply because I found that map was more open, left people more susceptible to win more gunfights potentially. There was a lot of open spaces. It seems like that game mode would be perfect for objective-based game modes. Like I played Domination on that map and absolutely loved it. Played Hardpoint, loved it. Didn't do too well in that game, but I did enjoy it. It was fun. I loved Ardennes Forest. Probably my second favorite map of the beta, with the exception of Aachen being number 1. So the map design, really enjoyed it. And I don't know if I mentioned this in my podcast about Infinite Warfare. So to back up, one of the things I just didn't like with Infinite Warfare was the gun sound effects. I felt that they didn't feel, I hate to use this term because it's Call of Duty, but I didn't think they were realistic. I just felt that I felt disconnected with them. I didn't like the sound effects. I thought they were just really cartoony, I guess is the word. I didn't care for them. They were really generic in my opinion. But what I like about these World War II gun sound effects, and I know we're kind of nitpicking here, but, I just wanted to give my impressions on it. And this is one of the smaller things that I pick up on, when I'm looking at a game, a movie, whatever it may be. The gun sound effects in World War II sound really, really good. I loved playing each gun, not only to see how I do with it, but just seeing what it sounds like. Because with a game that takes place during World War II, you have so many options to go with. You have so much vastness to go within these guns. And if Sledgehammer will stick to what they said in regards to keeping all the gestures, the taunts, the camos, anything like that related to the era, then they have to go another route when they're dealing with creative stuff such as gun sound effects. And you want each gun to sound unique. You want each gun, you want to be able to hear it and think, okay, this guy's using an STG, this guy's using a grease gun, and I found that was very effective in how they did that. I love the gun sound effects, the PPSH. I guess because coming from World at War, coming from World at War, the PPSH, man, oh man, that gun sounded pitch perfect. I loved it. And then it came back in Black Ops 3 with Gorod Krovi, the zombies map. And it's the PPSH. So, what are you going to do with that? I really enjoyed it. The fact that it's back was good enough for me, honestly. And the PPSH, I think because it's a recurring gun, that was probably my least favorite sounding gun. I don't know. I guess it sounded good for what it was, but I guess I'm in that mindset that if the PPSH doesn't sound like it did in World at War, then I'm not happy. I was happy with it. I actually used that gun most of the beta, and I used the PPSH. I think I got that max rank actually, and then I used the grease gun a lot, which I started to like, and then realized hey, there's better options. That is one thing you guys will know, especially when the game comes out. And that brings me to my next topic here, guys, is that this game was so well balanced. For the beta, it was very well balanced. Of course, there were issues. I did find that there are some aim assist issues and all that, but that's the point of a beta, guys. They're going to fix that eventually. It's going to happen, so do not worry about that at all. Stuff like that will be fixed, if not at launch, later on down the road. That's just stuff they got to look at. That's the point. That's the reason they have the beta. It's all going to fix those minor issues. But that's what I wanted to get to now, is that when I think about it, there were no major issues that I can think of off the top of my head that just butchered my game experience. I thought the spawns were okay. Me personally, I never had a problem with spawns. I never found myself complaining about, oh, this spawn is horrible. And you guys know the whole deal. You know how it goes with all that. I never felt that. I always felt that some guns were a little bit more effective than others at times. But then I kind of realized, oh, well, it kind of makes sense because I'm over here, you're over here, and because you're longer range, then you're going to get the kill probably because, for one, you have a better gun, and I'm rocking the grease gun over here that has absolutely no range. So you got to take that into consideration too. Especially me, I'll get frustrated when I die, what? Those kind of just what happened deaths. The ones that just, oh man, I had those happen a couple times, but other than that, that's just how, that's the player. There really were no major technical issues that I wanted to talk about because, I don't know, there were a few minor things that I need to be changed, which is going to happen, like I said, maybe not at launch, but later on down the road of multiplayer, which is one of the reasons why I'm really looking forward to this game. If the game is this good at this current state, at the beta state, it provides a very positive outlook into what we're going to get on November 3rd. So I'm really looking forward to that. There really were no major issues, just to kind of sum this little segment up. But let's talk about the game modes, and particularly I'm going to focus more on war here. And I got some war gameplay for you guys up on screen right about now, so you guys want to check that out. That is totally optional. I'm just going to have it up, in case you guys want to kind of put a picture to audio here, but War was actually something that I'm gonna find myself playing a lot when the game comes out, and especially when more DLC comes out for World War II, because I assume what they're going to be doing is for DLC. How it's going to work is, the basis of it at least, is going to be 4 new multiplayer maps, a new war map, and then a new Nazi Zombies map. That's probably going to be the basis for how they do that. I'm thinking that's how they're going to do it. I would assume that's how they're going to do it, because if we have the same war map for the next year and a half, then it's going to be like, you get kind of bored of it, you know? But anyway, guys, talking about War, oh my goodness, I was a little concerned about it because for the most part, I don't really find myself as like an objective-based player. I mean, I find myself playing a lot of free-for-all, kill confirmed, some TDM here and then with some friends. But, and you guys know, I usually find myself playing those objective-based game modes, but not often. And going into War, I was kind of on the fence about it because a lot of people were saying that it kind of resembles Operations. And if you guys have played Battlefield 1, you guys know Operations is a massive game mode to be playing on. I mean, it is so just insane, the scale of which Operations is in Battlefield 1. So I was worried about that at first. But then me and a friend of mine, we were like, hey, maybe we should go and check it out just to see what it is, because we have access to it, so why not try it out? So we actually went into War one day, the first weekend one of the beta. We were playing it, and then when we started going in, man, did we have so much fun, and I was blown away. What I liked about War is the pace. The pace of War, you wouldn't think would be fast, but it actually is, because the way War works is you take control of both sides of both teams, and as you guys know, you play as the Axis powers and the Allies in World War II, and each team has these different objectives. So if you're on the Allies side, your goal is to basically get your tank to the other side of the map, which is, it's a pretty big map, but you play it in segments. It's not just one big thing and you go and you do this and you hope to get it done in like a few minutes. No, that's not how it works. You do each part in segments. So if you're the Allies, your goal is to get the tank over to the anti-air guns, I don't know the proper name for them, of the Axis powers. Get your tank over there and just destroy those. If you're the Axis powers, your goal is to basically stop that from happening. It's basically a defense team, and you're basically a defense team if you're playing as the Axis. But how it works is, to go a little bit in depth here, is that say you play as the Allies first. Your main goal is to first of all capture this like objective point. And once you do that, you can move on. If you're successful at that, then you can move on. I think if the Axis at any point in time, if they successfully defend that certain objective, I believe the game is over. And I think that just kind of wraps it up. But anyway, guys, basically what happens is you go in, you try to capture this objective, and this is kind of like the hard point, I guess, mode, kind of like relationship, I guess. So they're kind of interlaced there. So it's like a hard point thing where you got to like lock down this position. You got to defend it. If you're the Allies, you got to go ahead and try to capture it as quick as possible. Once you do that, you move on to building this bridge, which is by far the most annoying step in this entire process. It is very frustrating, especially if your team isn't defending well. It can be a hassle if you guys aren't looking for like people sniping from across the bridge and all that kind of stuff. So it can get annoying. But once you do that, you move your tank along, then you escort your tank a little bit, then you got to go and destroy. You got to destroy or defend this like armory or this like guns depot or something like that. And then once you do that, you can move on once the Allies successfully do that. On the last step, you go ahead and you move your tank. And this is kind of when like the Overwatch-esque comes into play. The more people you have by the tank, the faster it'll move to the final objective. And if you're successful at getting it to the final objective, then your team wins. However, if the other team defends it, then you lose. And what's cool about it is you actually get a chance to play as both sides in War. So say you don't do well as the Axis, as defense, and the Allies come through and they actually win the match. I think what happens is that will flip. So it's not like the game will last like 2 minutes and then it's over. You'll actually get a chance to play both sides. And I really, really like that because it gives you an opportunity to experience what it's like to defend, to be on the offensive, and all that. But the main consensus I wanted to draw from War is that the pace of it is really surprisingly fast. I was blown away by how fast the game mode plays out, because I was going in this thinking it's Call of Duty's version or their take on Operations. And I was nervous because me not being an objective heavy player, I'm like, I'm not going to find myself playing it because then I got to worry about doing this and doing that or whatever. It has something for everyone, guys. It really does. Take my word for it. I was surprised when I did it. If you guys haven't had a chance to play War yet on the beta, I think the weekends are over for the closed beta. And I think the next chance we're going to have to play it is on November 3rd. However, guys, War was amazing. I didn't play it as much as I should have during the beta, but I did get a chance to play it, and it is just super fun. It's a lot better to play with your friends and kind of get that team put together and defend and go on the offensive and all that. However, you can jump in by yourself, rack up a couple of kills and do what you got to do. It really, really is fun. And that's the main thing I wanted to draw here, is that War, definitely check it out. If you guys are kind of intimidated by it, I just want to be the one to say don't be, because it really is fun. Once you get your hands on it, it really is quite the experience. Your deaths aren't recorded in this game mode, which I really found interesting. It's all about the kills, the defends, all the stats like that. Those are the things that matter, and just getting the win is the most important thing. But I think other than that, guys, I mean, kind of discussing what we've had so far and, basically what I've experienced playing, I wanted to talk about some things that I would like to see in the full release game. Obviously, we only got a little snippet of what multiplayer is going to be. We didn't get a look at campaign, and we haven't even gotten anything besides the reveal trailer for Nazi Zombies. I'm excited to see some gameplay from Nazi Zombies, simply because I want to see what they changed about it. I really want to see how it's going to differ from Infinite Warfare zombies and the classic Treyarch zombies that we all know and love. I would love to see the difference that they take. I want it to be its own unique thing. And I don't know if I've said this before, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. I believe that if Sledgehammer takes this whole Nazi zombies concept and bases it off of the popular elements that made Treyarch Zombies what it is, and uses those ingredients to create its own unique horror experience, it will be a very successful third game mode. The campaign, I don't really have much to say about the campaign other than, I kind of hope the story is compelling. I want there to be just a bunch of epic moments, because on the scale of World War II, you got to have those moments. You got to have those World at War, World War II moments where, just stuff's going down. This grittiness is happening. This this grotesque imagery is going around. I'm tossing out all these words. It really needs to hit the player hard. It needs to hit the audience hard with the wow factor, with the oh my gosh factor. It's got to wow people, because on a scale like this, like I said, you got to do that. People have come to expect this game to be the callback to classic Call of Duty. And if the campaign has those moments where it's like, oh my goodness, that was crazy, this guy got his arm blown off, this and that and all that, then the campaign will be a success. But finally, guys, to kind of wrap up the podcast, what do I want to see in the final launch build of World War II? Well, I haven't talked about Divisions yet, and I wanted to save that for last because I had a few things to say about them, and the community has given their feedback on them, and a lot of people don't really care for it because of the lack of creativity and the classes you make. I've heard it all. I understand where everyone's coming from. I get that. I was a little upset about it too, but at the same time, we got to have some things changed up just to kind of be diverse in this world of Call of Duty that we live in. So Divisions, I think, is a good system. I believe that if you're a type of player who likes to use SMGs, then I think, and I mean, not just SMGs, if you're a kind of person who just loves going in with just one specific set of guns, whether it be ARs, SMG, shotguns, LMG, snipers, whatever it may be, The division system is perfect for you because there are those players who just enjoy running around with like a certain gun class. I used to be like that until I started going back and forth between like shotguns and LMGs and baby snipers and all that kind of stuff. But it's cool for the players who, enjoy just one type of gun class, which is fine. You always have those players who just prefer those certain gun classes. I want there to be a little bit more creativity when it comes to divisions. I want in the final build, I want there to be a little bit more of depth with the division system. I want you to be able to customize it more. Is it going to happen? Probably not, but here's what I was thinking could improve the division system. So let me give you guys an example as to what I want to see in divisions in the final build. For example, for the airborne division, that's the SMG, the submachine gun division, where your main ability is to attach a suppressor to your gun. And upon doing that, that division is meant for SMGs. Of course, you can put an assault rifle in that specific division class, but at the same time, why would you? There's no benefits from it. You level up your division, sure, and you get all these abilities like sprint. And I can see later on down the road when you get the other abilities, such as, I know with airborne, there was increased sprint duration, increased sprint speed. I think there was increased reload speed. So all the aspects of like an SMG build where you're fast and you want to move fast and you want to be mobile and have the mobility of like an SMG guy and you just move fast, sprint a while, all that stuff. Yeah, put guns on the division if you want, but it would make more sense for you to use an SMG because that's what the division was meant for. Coming from that perspective, I understand how that limits the player. Because back with the old Pick-10, I say the old Pick-10 class, I mean the recent Pick-10 system that we've come to expect, you could do whatever you wanted. I respected that. Because when the Pick-10 system was introduced in Black Ops 2, there were so many things I was looking at and I'm like, wait, I can do that? I don't have to have this? It was cool because it was something new. It was something unique. And just people could just go in with whatever they wanted. It was insane. It was a good revolutionary system to be introduced in Call of Duty. However, it's been in play for a while now. With Call of Duty World War II, yes, it would have been nice to have a created class system, but at the same time, this one's gonna work, guys. It was in the beta, and for those that played the beta and just didn't like the division system, I understand where you're coming from. However, I believe that it's gonna be a unique system because, yes, there are certain limitations to what you can do. However, everyone, in my opinion, seems to have that particular gun class that they just enjoy playing with. It will also entice players to try out other divisions such as Expeditionary, which is the shotgun class. So that main ability is that you get incendiary shotgun shells, which is really, really cool. And you want to level up the division, get the perks that come with it, maybe some titles and emblems that come with that. It's going to entice players to try out new guns, to try out, maybe a sniper. If you never had the chance to play with a sniper, you're going to be enticed more other than maybe just getting that diamond camo or whatever the big unlock all camo may be. It's going to allow players to become more diverse in how they play. And like I said, that's how they're going to do it. That they're going to do it in a way where they're going to not force you to play that way, but just be like, hey, did you know you can do this? Maybe try this out. We got some cool titles for you. Maybe got some rewards for you, some bonus XP, some challenges maybe. It's going to be good, guys. I'm looking forward to the division system and how they finalize on it with the final build of the game come November 3rd. I'm not against it fully. I do have my gripes with it. My biggest gripe, like everyone else, is that, you can't be as creative as you were. And the perk system is a little wonky too, but that was the beta. I'm going to give it a pass. And yeah, we're going to move past that. But yes, guys, what did you see in the beta that you wish that they would fix in the final build? What do you want to see with the final build of the game? What did you like from the beta? And what are you expecting from November 3rd release of Call of Duty World War II? I am excited for it, especially after playing the beta for 2 weekends in a row. My goodness, I enjoyed that game so much. I wasn't able to get max rank, and I wasn't able to try out the new Thompson that they added in, I think, late in weekend 2. So that was unfortunate. I didn't get a chance to try that out. However, I am looking forward to the game. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on Nazi Zombies because that is my go-to when that game first drops. I'm going to be playing that. I'm going to be bringing you guys some gameplay, hopefully, on the channel whenever that comes out. I wanted to get some Nazi Zombie gameplay out for you guys. If you guys would like to see a campaign walkthrough down the line, I'm totally down for that. That'd be fun to do. I've never done a campaign walkthrough of a game since Call of Duty Ghost, so I think that'd be fun. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought of the Call of Duty World War II beta, what you didn't like maybe. Just let me know down in the comments below. Finally, guys, if you guys did enjoy the podcast, be sure to hit that like button as it does help out so much. If you are new to the channel and want to go ahead and see some more awesome content from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It does, as that helps out a bunch as well. And finally, guys, go ahead and check me out on Twitter and Facebook. I like my Facebook fan page. Those links are in the description below. Go ahead and also follow me on Twitch. I plan on doing a stream soon. I know I keep saying it, but I've just been having issues with like the streaming equipment. It's not really the software or anything. It's just the equipment. I tried streaming. Last time I tried streaming was the Kingdom Hearts finale, and it didn't go too well. So I've kind of had like a bit of a stream intimidation, you know, with me just kind of being worried about equipment failing and all that kind of stuff. But go ahead and follow me on my Twitch page. Link is in the description below. But yeah, guys, it's going to go ahead and do it for me. I'm going to end it out by saying I really want to get you guys' feedback on what you thought of the Call of Duty World War II beta, what you're looking forward to in the full game. And that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope to see you guys in my next video. And until then, peace out.